Me getting chewed out every day. There's like, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. I don't want to mess up at all. He would literally probably murder me if I messed up. He's chewing on Ben. That just kind of goes into the competitive nature of both of us. Definitely two alpha males butting heads, but it's all constructive though. He knows what I want, and I know what he wants. And so that's really just an everyday basis.
So that's you. That is the way you want to
Well,
be
it just
coached.
makes me play that much harder. I've realized how focused and how serious he is on a daily basis. I can see that by his actions every day, chewing me out. So it is what it is. That's the coaching style that I like. It gets me going. It gets me on my heels every time he's ready to play. So I love that about him. And I'm sure I bring out the best of him. I piss him off a lot of times. But at the end of the day, it's football. I definitely don't carry over off the field. But me and him both are kind of able to flip a switch once we get to the practice field. Mainly more him than me. He's kind of bipolar a little bit. When he gets on the field, it's crazy what stuff he does. But I think he just wants the best out of his players. He wants to make the most out of each practice. He thinks every practice is the most important practice. I think that's why he's had such consistent defenses over the past couple of years, because he brings that out of his players.
Speaking of Brent, you had Taj Boyd come in and play the part of J.T. Barrett before you left Clemson.
Right.
But Brent likes to play scout team quarterback. Which
day.
one's better? Which one does it better?
They definitely have they bring different things to the table. I'm not going to say Jimmy Greenbeans is that bad because he might bench me. But Taj obviously brings in a different aspect of practice, being one of probably the best quarterback in Clemson history. The things he can do with the ball. He's very similar to J.T. Barrett. Just be able to run the ball and throw it, and then him knowing what defense we're in, just because Taj's been there, done that. So he just really knows what we're doing. So he really just makes practice that much more difficult and that much more game-like. And Jimmy Greenbean's a solid, but there's some things he can't do. I know he doesn't want to admit that, but Taj definitely brings in a completely different focus and attitude into practice.
How beneficial was that?
And it was huge. I just kind of is very similar to JT in everything they do. I know Jimmy Greenbeans is very limited. Probably both with his arm and legs. He's getting old. His arm very very stiff. So I don't know if he'll admit that. I know I'll probably tell him I said this. But Tosh can do everything. I was so surprised that he wasn't successful at the next level. I didn't understand that because I know how talented he is. So he really just makes practice. He makes it that much more difficult. We have to play that much more faster, that much more consistent. Have to be that much more disciplined with our eyes. He can do so many things. Now it just translated over to game day. Him and Bear are so similar.
Did he talk to you about the game itself, like the game 3 years ago in the Elite Bowl, and did anything he say help you in preparation for the team?
Taj?
Yeah.
We really didn't, because he wasn't really in our meeting rooms. He kind of just showed. He surprised us, just like everybody. I think him and Coach Sweeney just talked, so we didn't know he was coming. So when we see him walking with pads, we're just like, God, today's gonna suck. We know he's that much better a player than old Greenbeans. So we didn't know. I didn't really have to talk to him about game plan stuff. He didn't really know our game plan. He just kind of showed up for a day.
Just one day?
Yes, sir. Yeah, he just showed up for one day. It kind of worked just pretty good. But we haven't really talked game plan.
What's your scouting report on J.T. Barrett?
Very similar to Sean, very similar to Lamar Jackson, Evans from Virginia Tech. Obviously, it's a variation of all those guys. Can do a lot of different things with the ball. Can throw it as good as anybody in the country. Can run it as good as any quarterback in the country. Is just as intelligent as anybody. I think he is able to read defenses, read schemes, read guys' leverages, and know where to put the ball. So we respect that. We're aware of that. So we know he has a lot of weapons on his side of the ball that allow him to play at a high level. So do we. So we're definitely aware of that. We know that he is one of the best players in the country at his position. So we've been working our butt off. That's when we brought in Taj Boyd because they're very similar, very athletic. They love to incorporate him in the run game. He's a big dude. He can take a lot of hits and still play at a high level. So we're definitely aware of that and we're ready for it.
Why the beard trim?
Not trim at all.
Oh, you didn't trim it at all?
No, I was lying. That is blasphemy. I would not.
I was gonna say.
Come on,
I thought you were serious when you said you trimmed.
Absolutely not. I have not touched this thing, and I've like trimmed the sides, like, because it gets like out here. But this down here has not been touched in 12 months. Come on, Hale. You know, I know. You always say that. I was joking.
Can't let these rumors get started.
Were you surprised when you saw that McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette, all those guys opted to skip the game?
I definitely understand both sides to it. I know that in some way you have to be selfish. You got to take care of your own. I know that those guys, him, Fournette, the dude from Baylor, they got a lot of money at stake. A lot of those guys are first-round guys, so I understand that they have to, in some way, take care of their own. I know that there's so much focus on the playoff, and it just kind of sucks for other bowls. Like if you're not in the playoff, then you're just like I think they're just playing the Sun Bowl, and it's like that's always like it's a big, like a good bowl, but like they're not, they're probably disappointed they're not in the playoffs. So he probably just, I'm not trying to get hurt in the Sun Bowl. No disrespect to them, like I understand where he's coming from. But then also I understand that whole team aspect. I understand that if Wayne Gallman did that, I mean I would understand his side of it, but I would like, dang Wayne, we need you. You know what I'm saying? Like you've been here for 4 years, and the last one we need you just as more as any other one. So I definitely understand both sides to it. I think it's just that. I don't really know his situation with family-wise, him and Fournette. I know Fournette's been hurt a lot of the year, so he's been kind of dealing with injuries. So I can see both sides to it, just kind of being in their shoes. Which is really, I'm not trying to make a controversial statement. I understand what they're doing. I'm sure their team would obviously love for them to be there, though.
Ben, what is unique about Curtis Samuel?
He can do it all. He probably has played. I know he has played with receiver, like H-back next to his name.
Yeah.
But he could probably throw in there 5 other positions. He's done it all season. He's one of the most talented players in the country. He's a freak athlete, and we're totally aware of that. So we respect what he brings to the game. We obviously have kind of installed a great game plan to slow him and the rest of the guys down, as difficult as that may sound. So we know that. We know that he can do a lot of things. We know they put him in the backfield, put him in the slot, and a lot of other areas. So we're aware of that. We're gonna try our best to slow him down and not let him get as many touches as they want to.
What's different about covering a guy like that as opposed to covering a guy maybe who's just an outside receiver and lines up in the same place every time?
Well, you might need to ask Jadar or Tootie that question. They're probably not going to line me up on Curtis Samuel. At least I hope not. I would not like to cover him. So you probably I'd ask Tootie or Mark or Van, one of those guys that will probably cover him more often than I will. That's not really part of our game plan to me or Kendall or one of our or Dorian on him. He's a freak. I don't want to cover him. So. Not part of our game plan.
When you were looking at schools, did you ever consider coming out west?
Yeah, so Stanford was where's Stanford? I think it's California.
Yeah.
So that obviously probably wouldn't succeed in Stanford. They were the second school, South Florida, and then Stanford was the second school to offer me. And I kind of had an idea that Clemson would probably be late. So I really entertained the Stanford offer, and then UCLA offered me a scholarship too. So I entertained those. Then once I started to get some schools down south to offer me a scholarship, those kind of died down. I'm a hometown kid. I'm not trying to go far away from home. I'm a mama's boy. I was thinking about Georgia until Clemson offered me. I didn't think they were going to because they were so late. It kind of pissed me off. So I definitely weighed my other options. Stanford and UCLA probably one of the early ones.
Right.
And Georgia, Duke, Ole Miss came into play, and it kind of slowed down.
Coach?
I'm sorry. When you think of the West Coast schools, any certain reputation? When you think of Stanford and UCLA, anything that jumped out at you, or do you think
I mean, obviously academics,
Yeah.
especially with Stanford. That's kind of the main reason why I entertain them so much. I wanted to take a visit out there. Just academically, I mean, they're at the top. So really, I know football will take care of itself. I know they're always in that contention with the best teams in the country. So I was really trying to be mature about the situation and look at my future. and that's kind of why I entertain them so much.
Speaking of getting offered so late, Coach V said that you're the only player he's ever gave an official offer to that was pissed off when he got it.
Absolutely.
Talk about. I mean, can you explain why you were so angry and what happened when he offered?
I mean, just because I felt like I should have been offered before he even got there. I was kind of mad it took that long. So, I mean, it is what it is. It kind of made me who I am today. Left that chip on my shoulder that I was at one of the last schools to offer me a scholarship, being 20 minutes on the road. So I know Coach V only has so much say into it. I'm pretty sure I was the first guy he offered when he got here. So I was super appreciative of that. But obviously, just being me, I'm like, you should have offered me freshman year. Why did I have to take you to junior year of high school to do that? So it obviously kind of annoyed me a little bit, but here we are. So I'm not trying to focus on that or worry about that.
Speaking of the chip on the shoulder, this is a program that has been built a lot by Dabo with a chip on its shoulder, not getting respect nationally. Do you feel like you're getting it now? Or even in this game against Ohio State, do you feel like there's people that still doubt?
Nah, I don't feel like the respect's getting there. With us being in the playoff 2 years in a row, I feel like the respect wasn't there. I wouldn't be here right now. So I think the respect's just now getting there. With us being an underdog, we don't worry about that. Ohio State's obviously a good team, so we knew it was going to be a very spread or whatever that stuff means. We don't focus on that too much. That's the guys in Las Vegas who don't watch as much film as we do, so we know that they don't have a good enough appreciation of what we've done and the work we put in. So we don't put too much focus on that. But I think the respect's getting there now, just because we've been in here 2 years in a row. So I think they're learning who Clemson's about.
Sorry, what did you learn last year from going through all the media attention that might have been, media attention leading up to the game, all the different stuff and everything that might be different from the normal football game?
I mean, it takes away from film, takes away from our preparation.